Nancy, you're up.
Yeah, you know who we got, don't you?
It is now 5 o'clock. We will begin the workshop for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for September the 26th, 2013. I would like to remind everyone this is being televised live. Alderman Waldron will have the prayer this time, and the pledge will be done by you, Alderman Green. Please review over the minutes. We did have a public hearing and a regular meeting, so review those notes. We will start off with our old business, second reading, ordinance 2013-17, an ordinance to adopt a schedule of fees for the release of public information for the city of Laverne.
Mayor, if you'll recall, a little over a month ago, I got a letter from MTAS advising that we may have a situation with our open records fees. And so what this does is it goes in and corrects that, just basically gets it in the order it should be. So that's all this ordinance does. It's more housekeeping than anything. The fees are the same. Nothing's changing there.
Y'all have any questions? Okay. Moving right along to our consent agenda items. A, approve recommendations for city bids and purchases. Number 1 is bid reinforced concrete pipe and head walls. Ms. Felicia.
This is just a bid for some concrete piping and head wall stormwater needed for some projects. Pretty standard. We only had one result, and that was Old Castle Precast. And at this time, I just recommend that we go ahead with that so that they can line this work up in the next couple of months.
All right. Any questions? Next is the bid for Mason Road Pump Station VFD replacement.
And this is pretty standard. We had 2 companies come back. One wanted to use Snyder products, and we've already got Allen Bradley, so we had recommended to just go back with MR Systems with the Allen Bradley products so we can all stay on the same page and everything be the same product.
Okay.
And as you can see, that $24,000 versus $23,000 for Snyder, I still think we'd be better off to go with the Allen Bradley.
Okay.
Questions?
Any questions? All right. Next would be the sewer flow monitoring for the Hollandale drainage basin.
That one Neil Hall took the lead on. Do you want to come speak to that, Neil, so that they can understand fully your thoughts there?
Good evening. We did this similar work in the East Hurricane Creek drainage basin 2 years ago, and I based my cost estimate on an increase in price for the prices we received 2 years ago. I estimated $57,000. The bidder who was low 2 years ago was CSL. They used the same prices from 2 years ago, and they came in 4th. So we had 2 bidders who were very, very low with a tie bid. Hydromax, who you're just completing a contract with for sewer system investigation in East Hurricane Creek, and Utility Technologies out of Murfreesboro. Both of these firms are suitably qualified to do this work. Hydromax did not include 2 certifications with their bid. So therefore, we've recommended that you award this project to Utility Technologies from Murfreesboro at $38,000.
Utility Technology. Y'all have any questions for Mr. Hall? Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is purchase miscellaneous items for air and light truck.
As you can see, this is just some additional things that the truck needed that were going to have to be bought at some point during the year, and they went ahead while they were able to install them on the truck now instead of having to go back and pay extra, going back and forth. Just went ahead with the purchase. at this time. We like to say it's Ricky's Toys.
So,
We're just giving Ricky a hard
and
time.
what we're doing here is he's taking it out of some of your hazmat,
I just took it out of regular budget.
regular, okay.
It was the timing of the truck getting here. You remember it was supposed to be here like 3 months prior to the new fiscal year.
Yep.
It was supposed to be last
It's gonna be done out of this year's budget, and the truck didn't even get here until
This year's
months
budget.
into
Yeah.
this budget, so it all got crossed up, so, but yes, this is existing money.
We'll have to balance it all out.
Any questions? All right. Number 5, lease small printer copier for city administrator's office.
When we did the switch around, our city administrator lost his copier. We were looking at a printer, and I had suggested looking at this type copier, because I had tested one a year or so ago, and we were gonna go with it in finance. But ours kind of bit the dust while it was under warranty, so we were able to replace ours, under warranty. But this is a good way for the city administrator to be able to scan, copy, fax, do everything in one component, and it be a little bit better quality than what we could have purchased for a printer, so that's what this is.
Bruce, you're happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's been on loan and testing in his office for a while now. They've let us loan it, and then we decided to go with it.
Excellent.
Any other questions?
B, approve the 2014 Governor's Highway Safety Office Traffic Grant contract. Chief.
Mayor, Alderman, we received this year from the Governor's Highway Safety Office, if you'll take a look at it, over $55,000. That's about $14,000 more than we got 2 years ago when we started with the grant for FY 12-13 of the federal fiscal year. This begins October the 1st. Once the contract is approved and signed, then we'll be good to go. And they'll process it through, and then we should be ready to go sometime probably mid to late October. It's the standard contract that we've had in the past, and that's 100% money for overtime, and there's a possibility that we could move some to equipment for some additional items we may need for our sobriety checkpoints. But it provides the funding for our alcohol saturation patrols and our sobriety checkpoints.
And those folks are doing quite well.
Very successful, yes. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 years, we've increased by double the prior years with the number of DUI arrests as a result of having the overtime and the people dedicated to it.
Excellent. Any questions?
Thank you.
Chief. All right, C, approve change order number 3 for the water treatment plant improvement project. Okay, who's got this one?
Board and Mayor Aldermen, I mentioned this to you previously. The contractor was painting and repairing the filters. We came upon the summertime of the year. Thomas said he felt uncomfortable taking some of his filters out of service in the summertime, so we issued a contractor a stop work order. Last week, Thomas told us he's now comfortable. The summer's behind us. He's now comfortable taking a couple of filters out of service for maintenance. So we directed the contractor to start back. Also, last board meeting, you approved a contract change order to repair and replace some doors and frames. And so this is a time-only contract change order for the lost time he had painting plus the extra time he needs for the doors and frames. It's time only and there's no money involved. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. All right, All right, Chief. All right. 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 D, approve ratification of agreement with Lando Frost, the donation of funds for the Laverne Youth Baseball and Softball League. AC, you want to give everybody the heads up on this one?
Sorry, Mayor. Oh, Land of Frost, yeah. Yeah, they had told us that as long as we had, what was it, 60 team fuel or something like that, that they would go with $1,500, I believe, or $15,000 for a donation, and sponsorship. And this year it was, since we had less teams in the fall, the check was $7,000. So, I mean, they said they'll just, go by how many teams we have, and that's a pretty good sponsorship. I think it's really good. So
It's a $7,500 donation, and at the time we first got this, we didn't realize this was actually an agreement. We would have had this on last month's agenda, but we went ahead and had it signed, and then we were going to bring it back to this board for ratification. So that's why you have it now.
Any questions? Questions? All righty, moving right along. Amend general fund capital plan for police department AFIS system.
This is also discussion item 14.
It is, but the documentation is the same. So really, when we talk about it here, we won't.
So we won't have to do 14.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Unless you want to wait till 14 and do this.
Hit it.
Okay. AFIS is Automated Fingerprint Identification System. That's the electronic system we have, rather than doing rolled, inked prints on cards. It allows you to capture them digitally and then print the card electronically from the digital photographs. It also allows you to submit them digitally, electronically to TBI and the FBI. The system we have in place over there now is about 10 years old. So the technology that's there is about 10 years old. At some point in time in 2008, someone across the street decided that there was no longer a need for a maintenance contract, so we have not had a software upgrade to it since 2008. And we had to have it repaired 2 years ago, and it was difficult trying to get that done because we didn't have a maintenance contract. So we had one of the TBI guys that he's down here and helped us repair it kind of quietly and got it to work. The problem we're having is with the technology that's with this system, matching up with New World Systems is an issue. 2 years ago, it was in the capital request for AFIS, and I think at that point in time, it was like a total of about $60,000 with $20,000 a year. I can't remember for sure, Phyllis, but I believe that's correct. It was in the capital back then. We're at a point in time where we're going to need to do something because with New World Systems, what we have will not mesh. So we went out, started doing some talking, trying to get some feel for things. We've got technically a quote from one of the companies that is one of the approved systems for TBI. It is also a company that is already in place working with the New World Systems Aegis software. Their quote for the various and sundry parts and pieces was a little over $32,000. Brian Rowland has been looking at it, talking to them, and there's some things that we're not going to need. So we don't really know what it would actually cost. And we're not asking for new dollars. What I'm going to be asking to do is to move $30,000 that's already budgeted, that we had for an additional motorcycle and equipment, move it over and utilize it to fund a new AFIS system that will be, to be honest with you, worth a lot more to us right now than the motorcycle would be. And we're not real sure what it'll come in at. It's going to be around $30,000, we believe. It might be slightly over. If it is, then we can utilize existing funds as well from small equipment or something of that nature. But basically, we're asking for that $30,000 to be moved over. And we'll try to go ahead and get the information to Felicia so that she can prepare an RFP, and we can look it over. We can shoot it out there because there's nothing binding for an RFP itself. We can go ahead and push it out even before you say approved officially, et cetera, to at least get a feel for what the bids are going to be and what the equipment's going to be, because we've got to kind of fine tune it with the specifications, because it's going to have to mesh very easily with Aegis, and it's also going to have to be fully provided and supplied by one company so that we're sure that those things work, somebody that Aegis already has and that TBI will accept as well. Now, one of the things that's important for us to be able to do that is when we do booking, there are 2 other agencies who are looking at new CAD RMS software in the county. One of the ones that they're really looking at is New World, the Aegis software that we're getting. That would be awesome, not only for Laverne residents, but residents of a whole lot of the county. And it would allow us to send information back and forth. For example, if the sheriff's department had it, when we book them here, we could shoot that information to them, and then when we transport someone to the county jail, for the most part, the booking's complete, because we have to have the information for our record-keeping purposes and to supply to TBI, plus the sheriff's department, when they incarcerate them, they have to notify, print them again, get all the booking info. If they had New World, we could shoot the information straight to them, and it would be there available so that when we take the prisoner in, all they do is go in and pull it up, and all that information's there, and all they have to do is add is their information they have to have for the incarceration rather than just the booking that we have. So, I mean, in the long term, it would benefit us all. In the long term, it would save us as taxpayers money for the county and the city too, potentially, if that occurs.
Sounds good. Any questions? Any questions?
And one last time, this is not asking for new money. It's money that's already budgeted that all we're going to do is move.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Under new business, motion to appoint and remove board members. Our first one is the Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals. We do have one vacancy, and I don't think we have anyone that has applied for that one. Next is the Local Emergency Planning Committee. We have 3 terms. We have 2 new ones, which is the Rutherford County SORT and the Smyrna Airport Authority. And then we do have 1 vacant for Public Works, and I think they're wanting to hold off on Public Works until they decide what's going to happen over there. But we can go on and do Chris Clark and Chief Joy Johnson for Tuesday night. Next is the Historical Preservation Advisory Committee. We do have 1 vacant spot. We still have no takers on that one. And then we do have Planning Commission. We have 2 terms that will expire at the end of October. And that will be Calvin Jones, who is our chairman, and Earl Garvin Jr. And you'll be letting them know and see if they're still interested in being a part of that. And then Laverne Housing Authority, we do have 1 term that will expire at the end of October. And we'll see if Mr. Puckett wants to stay on that. Number 7, first reading, ordinance 2013-18, an ordinance to amend Title II, Chapter 6 of the Laverne Municipal Code by adding members to the Local Emergency Planning Committee.
We're proposing to add 2 additional members to this committee. One would be from the Information Technology Department, and the other would be from the Stormwater Department. And that's all this ordinance does.
Okay. If y'all have any questions, guys, just stop us. Next is first reading, ordinance 2013-19, an ordinance to amend the 2013-2014 general fund budget for replacement generators. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
I'm going to let Ricky speak to this one. This basically is going to appropriate the funds we need to replace 2 generators, basically, 1 generator and a new one.
This has been brought back up. I'd been asked to look at some information on some funding and things like that. We'd put this bid out several months back and got it back and brought it before council, but then we were going to look into some other funding methods and things of that nature. However, we've had a lot of generator repairs that have been done since we've looked into these. Those other alternative fundings are not really something that would help pay for this type of project. So over this past weekend, or over the past couple of days, we've been dealing with another issue with the backup generator at the police department. Now, this one was due to an accident occurring, but it just put one more jolt onto this generator. Actually, in the technicians being out and doing the repairs that's needed to be done to it from the fencing company doing some damage to it. We've looked, it's about to have a cracked manifold on it again. So the last time we replaced that, it was $1,500. These repairs that are being made now may very well be on an insurance claim for us, even though there's a whole lot behind that. But this repair alone is probably going to be between $5,000 and $10,000, and that's just on this one generator. And take in mind that generator at the police department also supplies the Channel 3 room in the back here and the citywide IT room that's in this building. So when that generator goes down, there's absolutely no power for anything, Channel 3 wise, computers, anything in the city, everything goes down. So that's why we brought it back up tonight, to see if we can go ahead and try to move forward with the project.
Phyllis, give us the...
This is not a budgeted item, and it would have to come out of our fund balance.
And Bruce, if I'm not mistaken, we did take the 2 remote repeater sites out, correct?
Yes, we're just looking at City Hall and Police Department.
Right.
Because of the way we're going to have to restructure everything with the new generator.
It's smaller generators at those 2 sites. We do have generators that we could put on those sites. In fact, I had to get Garland to go out today to one of those and put a battery in it today. That's just a general maintenance thing, but those are those same generators as well. But we think we can get by, but we really need to get these in place for the City Hall and the Police Department.
Well,
and of course, there's a lead time involved with ordering these generators. So, I mean, if you approve the budget amendment and we approve the purchase next month, it's going to be 2 or 3 months before they get installed, just because they have to order them and then install them and everything. So, you know, the more we wait, the longer we're going to be in trouble, possibly.
yeah.
More at risk we're going to be.
I think those were good for 12 months. When I read back over them today, it looked like it was, because it even had another leader out there for 2. They were more worried about the lead time on getting the generators to us than they were letting the bid carry out for 12 months. Yeah.
And then some of that too, with the wiring, I know we discussed, because it was an accident, a lot of the wiring.
And that is being changed, so regardless of whether the fencing company's insurance covers that or if we end up having to cover it through our insurance on our side, that wiring is being adapted to what would work for the new one. So we were going ahead, that's having to be done, so we're fixing that problem now.
It's also being run into the building properly.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Thank you. I know y'all had a little panic attack the other night when all this happened. All right. Next. Resolution 2013-21, a resolution to approve a nonprofit donation to Roy Waldron School Drama Program. We did receive a request from the drama program asking for any type of donation. We do have a very good drama program at Roy Waldron, and they do go to competition in Atlanta. And last year, was it last year we brought them up here? They won some kind of national title. last year with those. And they're requesting any type of donation that we could possibly give to them to help send these kids to Atlanta for the competition. I know we've done that for the band in the past, the high school, when they went to nationals. So what is the wishes of this board?
We don't have a dollar amount in the resolution yet, so it'll be up
It'll be up
the
to this
board.
board.
Pretty wide range, any kind of donation.
Yeah.
What did they give an idea what it's gonna cost?
I don't think it said in the letter, did it?
It didn't say in the letter. I talked to a parent about a month ago, and I believe the cost is $650 per person to take the trip. I'm not sure how many of the kids are going, but that's the information I've got from the note that day. I don't have a total cost on their trip.
That's a pretty big bunch, isn't it? Maybe, we probably couldn't do that, but maybe we can do something.
What did we do on the high school band?
I think it was 1,000. I think it was
I
1,000.
think we gave them 1,000. And that's probably all in the world we should do for this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
you
I
know,
don't-
you can't.
I know we have to be very, very cautious with our money. We're doing really good, and
Well, and we have to be fair through, you know,
Yes.
with all of them. So
Yes.
to me, that would be reasonable.
where would that come out of, Phyllis?
Public relations.
Public relations.
How's your budget? Okay. So, $1,000?
Works for me.
1,000?
I'll
And you're
put
good with it?
1,000.
And Phyllis is good, okay? Number 10, Resolution 2013-22, a resolution authorizing the City of Laverne to participate in the TML Risk Management Pool Driver Safety Loss Control Matching Grant Program. Again, this is something that we do every year.
Right, and this year we're applying for a projector, wall mount, 3 LCD TVs, racks, and 100 medium traffic cones, and that's so that we could have driver safety courses for all of the city employees.
Excellent. And this is a 100%.
No, this is a 50-50
Is it
match.
50/50? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Up to $2,000, I believe.
Any questions? Okay. Number 11, Resolution 2013-23, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare certain property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. Got a pretty good little list here.
Yeah, these are all seized vehicles that we were awarded by the courts. And so we need to auction them off, so we'll declare them as surplus and then auction them on GovDeals.
Excellent. All right. Next, number 12, motion to approve an application for a certificate of compliance for an off-premises consumption retail liquor store from Gary Patel, better known to us as Gary, to be located at 493 Waldron Road.
This is for a new store, obviously over off of Waldron Road. It's over at the corner of Ingram and Waldron Road across from McDonald's. He's looking to build a new building there, but he wants to go ahead and get the certificate of compliance for the city first before he goes into all of the planning involved with the building. Have to go through planning commission, all of that. But that's this application here. I believe PD is working on the background. And I think Evan, I know he's been sent the application, to review as required by our code. The sign's been placed on the property as required. The legal advertisement that the applicant is supposed to put in is supposed to be run over the weekend, this weekend. So as far as we know, everything is in order for the meeting Tuesday.
Excellent. Any questions? All righty. And it's also got a thing in here to showing where it's going to go in your packet. Number 13, motion to approve agreement with Laverne Rescue Unit to provide extrication services for the city of Laverne. Who's taking this one, Bruce? You, Chris?
I can start. 2 years ago, we did an agreement with the rescue unit. That contract expired June 30th of this year, and we're just really now getting back to, we've been working on this for 2 or 3 months now, but we have the new revised contract in the packets. Chief Walker, Assistant Chief McCormick, and I met with Rescue towards the end of August and went over the contract with them. I believe they are okay with all of the changes that we had proposed, except for item number 2, which is on page 2 of the contract regarding the fuel cost. We had asked for a change there where the city would deduct the fuel cost from the rescue squad on a monthly basis. And I think one of our main reasons for doing that is to be consistent with how we're treating the fire department contract, because that's what we do with them. On average, the city probably pays in the neighborhood of $3,000 per year on the fuel. So if the board approves this, obviously that would be deducted from their $40,000 that they get every year. Went through the LEPC, was discussed a little bit there, and they did make a recommendation to the city council with the fuel costs being deducted out. So it's really up to this board if you want to leave it as it's proposed, deducting the fuel costs, or if you want to do it the way we've been doing it for the last 2 years or however many years we've been doing it. That's entirely a board decision. And Chief and Ricky, I don't know if you want to say anything. I know Dana is here as well. If he has anything he would like to say, that's up to the board if you want to let him speak.
Dana, you want to, anything you want to? Chief, Ricky?
Don't we already have this in our budget?
It's, well, the 40,000, flat 40.
Yeah. Why are we taking 3 away?
The gas,
I know.
paying for the gas.
I know.
So, yeah.
But why? Are we taking it from anybody else?
Yes, the fire has to pay their own gas.
If you add the fuel cost in, essentially we're giving them $43,000 roughly. Whereas if they pay for the fuel themselves, it would be deducted and from that $40,000.
So
Does that make sense?
It's not just $3,000, it's a $6,000 swing.
Yeah, it could be looked at that way.
It's totally up to this board. Whatever. I mean, if we,
I'm for leaving it like it is, the way LEPC recommended it with a doubt. I mean, we've cut everybody else's budgets on $3,000.
and it did come from a favorable recommendation from the LEPC.
Yes, ma'am. So Tuesday night, when you make a motion on this item, you'll need to, include in the motion which way you want the contract to be, either with this clause or without, and we'll strike it at that point, or leave it the way it is.
Doesn't the fire contract go up each year, percentage-wise? Don't we, as far as fuel? Is that not, and there may be a moot point next year anyway, but
Right.
isn't it each year go up a percentage? So have we struck that from them or not?
Well, I mean, they still are paying the fuel. Yes, their contract does go up each year. Rescue, has been staying consistent at the 40,000. Of course, that's what's in their contract. So the fire department did have increase amounts built into their contract as well. So there is a difference there.
Anybody else? How many runs do y'all make outside of Laverne in the county?
Off the top of my head, right this second, I can't tell you. I think it's probably 3/4 in the city, 1/4 out of the city.
I'm sorry. I mean, they have been with us for so long, and they've done so much for free for the whole city for years and years. That, to me, I don't know. I just think the 3,000 could stay in there, but that's my opinion. Everybody has their own.
Well, it'll be up to this board, so. Decide by Tuesday night.
We just, decide what's going to happen.
The way I look is keep what's in the best interest of the city and the citizens of Laverne. That's whatever's in the best interest of them. And that's what we always have to look at on anything, the emergency, all of it. What's going to be in the best interest of our citizens. So, any more discussion?
Just, Chris, you said LEPC put this up with a favorable recommendation. What was their thinking? What was the reason why, again, other than just trying to
It's just
maintain?
nobody else gets it. I mean, they get funding from the county too for this. I mean, for what's best for the citizens, you already have the police and fire coming. We're paying 40 grand a year. You can buy extrication tools. I mean, in 4 years, we're paying $160,000. I think an agreement altogether is getting to the point of it. We don't even, we need rescue, but we're paying every year. You just keep adding to what we could have bought the tools and have firemen doing it for. I mean, I can't see to keep going up on we're paying the citizens. Citizens are paying for it. Where you could buy it one time, you can't do extrication without a fire truck there. You're going to charge the line. So, I mean, I can't see going up. You know, we've cut everybody else's budgets.
The rescue squad, though, their budget had increased, and we've had them at 40,000 for how many years?
2004.
I'm not sure exactly.
But if you figure that on 10 years, that's $400,000. That's a lot of extrication tools.
But it's never went up.
But what I'm saying is you can buy the tools, and the vehicles are already there, and the personnel are already at wreck. You could buy the stuff, and you won't have to be putting out 40 grand every year.
All I know, the rescue squad's been around a long time. They've done a good job, and
I'm not saying
I
they
appreciate
haven't.
them doing it.
I'm not saying they haven't. I can't justify going up on my part for it.
Well, they really ain't going up. They just want the same.
And just so I understand, 40,000 donation were given to them. Instead of getting a monthly or how often we pay them for the fuel, they will now be, that money will be taken back. So it's not just 3,000. in essence, it may go, what was it last year, 32, 35?
I don't remember the exact number. It's just over 3,000.
So if that gets deducted, then it'll be 36.5, 37 that they'll ultimately will be what they'll get.
But we also provide clothing for them. We put that in, so I mean, it has went up when you consider things like that. In the contract when we did it a year or two ago, we started providing them clothing or clothing allotment. So I mean, it has went up for them.
But the cost of fuel has went up in the last 10 years too, so, you know, it's apples and oranges.
It's like the mayor said, it's just whatever y'all feel is right.
Well, I guess we'll sleep on it.
Any more comments?
I guess the only thing I want to say is if it's going to be a contract and agreement, whether it's going to be a year or 2 years, I'd like to see both sides happy. Obviously, we have to do what's best for the city, and I'd like to see Rescue Squad happy. You know, I don't know if, I mean, this is already up, it's already expired, so, you know, there's not a lot of time, but maybe in the next 2 to 3 days, I don't know. I'm always trying to find a middle. If we can get together and try to find middle ground here between the rescue squad and the city, if there is any, and, or if we're at that point already, I don't know. But, I want them to be happy, and of course, we got a job to do.
Any other comments? No? All right. Number 15, discussion, security at Veterans Memorial Park. AC.
Well, for those of y'all that don't know, we had another incident at the park day before yesterday. And it was a break-in. It appeared to be a break-in anyway. So we had some stuff stolen and some stuff was just trashed and thrown all over the park. So we cleaned that up, and we have contacted Crawford Metal Doors. They're going to come out and they're going to move the roll-up doors to the outside of the concessions. They keep breaking the windows. We've spent over $1,500 so far this year on windows alone, and it'll cost us $1,800 to get those moved to the outside, so at least it'll save us the windows. We also had all the buildings rekeyed. The organization that was here in the spring, they left abruptly, and I think they kept 2 sets of keys. I'm not accusing anybody, but it didn't look like there was a forced entry, but the windows were broken and all the glass was outside. So it was, you know, there was some speculation there. But anyway, no, there was not. So, but that being said, that's been rekeyed at the tune of $800. So we spent $2,600 in the past. I believe that work is scheduled to be done, moving those metal doors. Is that tomorrow, David?
It's still within the next week.
Within the next week, okay. So that's going to cut down on a lot of, we won't have any more broken windows, hopefully, that way. We've also contacted, Guardian came out, and I spoke with him today, and it was a rush job. He threw together, you know, a proposal for us, and we're looking at about $7,000 to put 2 IP cameras in each complex with DVRs in the concession stands, and that'll be also able to be monitored down here in dispatch, and for all the labor and everything. And that was rough. He said that's high. He had to figure it up on the run, so he said that'll come way down. I mean, that's more than he and I talked about in the park. So I don't know about that.
We should have a final number by Tuesday night.
Right.
This is something should have been done a long time ago.
Should have been done a long time ago.
I mean, we could have already paid for it, you know,
Yeah.
with all the windows that we've replaced, and you know, and I think they stole about $300 worth of candy, and you know, so we really need to do something. It is a nice complex, so you
This
know, we
may
need
be
to do
done,
something.
but do we have motion lights down there?
That's another thing we
Would
wanted
that
to do.
help? I mean, it'll keep the honest people honest, but
Well, that's what I think. It's a
I
deterrent.
mean, if a light flashes on, it's gonna scare you a little bit.
Well, and we'll need to, if we get them, we'll have to put them on a timer as well, because you don't want, you know, going off during ball games and things like that. And not that it would. I think the ball field lights would probably keep them from going off. But I think that's a big deterrent too. I've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks.
Cheap deterrent, but
Yeah. So that's where we're at on that. Like Bruce said, we'll have a better number by Tuesday night, so.
Chief, did you want to say something?
While we're doing this and looking at it, there's another portion we need to look at because we've talked about it before with the issues we have had there at the basketball court and the skate park area with the fights and the gangbangers. Unless we assign somebody to sit over there full time, there's no way we can see and know what's going on there unless a good citizen happens to call, and usually it's after the fact. And one of the things that I had asked Guardian to look at back several months ago was to look at a camera that could be located where we could see that area, because that is a hotspot problem area. We've had several calls there, several problems there.
Well, they had talked about putting a repeater on top of the concession stand at baseball,
Yeah.
which would have, given them signal to watch the skate park, but I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, we had discussed this back when, but if we're gonna fix it, we need to fix it
Just have them look
and
on
make sure
look
we
at
got
that,
everything
too.
sewed up at one
I sit
time.
and watch the skate park and the basketball goals like every third day when I'm at work. Be a
Yeah.
good place for a parking lot. It really would. I mean, there's nothing, once it gets close to dark, there's nothing good going on right there.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah,
So, I mean, in my
Nothing.
opinion, you could just get rid of it and eliminate a lot of trouble right there.
I mean, we may have bought a little time with moving those roll-up doors and getting the building rekeyed, but, I mean, it's not, we really need to have more of a deterrent down there with cameras and motion detector lights, I think, so.
as far as what occurred over there, it's typical of juveniles historically, when you look at the MO, what they did, because they were destructive. If an adult's gonna break in, they don't usually destroy things, and I'm saying usually. We don't know if it was juveniles or whom, but it appears to have been juveniles from what we know, from a lot of experience, because they just tore things up. And there wasn't forced entry, whether it was left unlocked or whatever. There was no forced entry.
Just check on and see what that.
We'll have a better
Get
number for you
price on
by
all
then.
of it, yeah.
And I'll even try to check a couple more options, but that's, like I said, this just happened day before yesterday, so we were kind of pressed for time, so that's what we've come up with so far, so.
Any questions?
And I don't want to sound like I'm against the ballpark, the basketball goals, but seriously, the good kids won't go over there.
They're afraid.
They're afraid to. That and the skate park.
Right.
And I don't blame them. I don't even want to go over there in the daylight half the time when it gets close to dark.
I mean, we've
But I
even
mean,
gone as far as setting the tennis court light timers to shut off at 9 o'clock to maybe deter them from going, but they'll go over there in the dark and,
Yeah, I see
and do all the
people out
stuff they
there,
do, so,
They go to the skate park and the basketball go all hours of the night.
yeah.
And I think they probably,
And
do
you're
a
not playing
little-
basketball when it's
No.
pitch black.
Right.
but they're not playing ball.
No.
We've kind of discussed some other options we're looking into doing at that end of the park. Looking into some grant money
I'm
and,
just saying,
Yep.
I don't want the kids to think I'm against them having somewhere to play basketball.
Right.
but we are looking into something that would involve kids that may be a little bit more beneficial to a lot more children. So, like I said, we're toying with that, and looking for some ideas and some grant money.
Right.
All right, you might as well stay up there, Mr. AC.
I know.
All right, discussion, fee schedule for the Senior Citizens Center.
And she did say discussion, that's all this is
Discussion.
discussion, so.
Discussion.
Y'all don't get riled up over there. I see some concerned seniors here, so this is all this is, a discussion of proposed fee schedule. We're looking at trying to get a little more money. I know Yolanda's got a couple more fundraisers lined up, coming up in the next couple months. We just don't have enough money down there, and we don't want to cut programming back and trips and things like that. Ideally, we would have, a surplus of money, but that's not the case. So what we're looking at is implementing a $5 per month or $60 per year for Laverne residents if you live inside the city. $10 per month or $120 per year for non-residents of Laverne. We are trying to offer an incentive members who pay their full year will receive an incentive discount. It'll be $10 off for Laverne residents and $20 for non-residents. And I realize that a lot of the seniors are on fixed incomes and they can't pay, and that's why we're looking at a sponsorship program, you know.
I was gonna ask.
Me and Sherry talked about this too several times. It's a membership fee only. There won't be any additional fees for the continental breakfast or the bus pickup and take home and other services that are currently provided. The fees and/or donations for special function and events will remain the same, dances, holidays, dinners, and things like that. You'll still pay for those things like that. There will be an application process for those seeking possible full or partial sponsorship. The staff will assist any member, resident, or non-resident meeting the criteria to secure the sponsorship. I really think that there's a lot of businesses here in Laverne that would probably love to be a senior sponsor. I mean, it shows a lot of community involvement, and to do this, we want to prepare for the implementation of the yearly membership fee schedule. The center will be, this is just a proposal again, you know, to be closed on Wednesday, January 1st and reopen on Monday, January 20th. Beginning January 20th, sponsorship applications will be accepted and membership fees can be paid. And then the proposed fee schedule will be implemented on February 1st, 2014. And a yearly membership will be from February 1st through January 31st of each year. Now, if anybody has any recommendations or things that they'd like to add to this, we'll be more than happy to hear it. I've met with the Senior Advisory Committee, Yolanda and Ms. Green, and we've gone over this. I've discussed it with Donna at length. I just hate for us to get 2 or 3 years down the road and, you know, the money not be there and, you know, something worse happens. So I won't even go there. But, you know, if anybody has anything they'd like to say, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I'd like to say it was hard enough to get it started to begin with. I mean, I worked and worked to get that place going, and I don't want to see anything happen. And I just, nobody wants this. Nobody wants anybody to have to pay a fee. But we don't want to have to close our doors either. So I don't know what we'll end up doing, but for sure we certainly do not want the senior center closed.
Every year during budget, I try to get more money for them. I will personally sponsor at least 2.
And I'll do the same thing.
I mean,
like
we
I
can
said,
all sponsor.
I don't think it'll be a problem getting the sponsors. And
paid for
I'd hate to cut
somebody's
back on
groceries
any of the
at
trips
Publix
and
more
things
than
that they
that.
do already, so, you know. But I really don't see a way around this. I think we need to help them and, you know, and
I'll
reach
at
out.
least pay for 2.
Oh, I don't think I'll have any trouble. getting
Yolanda, how many
sponsors. I
current
really
members
don't.
are there at the center, active members?
370.
Here's where I feel about the fee for the seniors. We don't charge the library, and we don't charge the park, so we shouldn't charge the seniors.
Well, I agree 100%, but
I do
we're at a
too.
spot where, you know, if we don't do something, I don't, you know, they take a lot of trips and they go and do things, and they have continental breakfast and things like that. There are costs that they incur that, you know, some of the other ones don't.
But the library and the park has the same
Hey,
total cost.
I'm all for let's don't charge them, but you're gonna have to show us where we can give them more money, because that's
Right.
what he's saying. 3 years down the road, there's not gonna be any.
Right, and that's my only concern. I mean, this is nothing that any of us want to do. I mean, we talked about it at the Senior Advisory Committee. Nobody wants to do this, but at the same time, I don't want to see it close
And
either.
during budget every year, I've tried to come up with a way. I mean, I was all for getting rid of the Chamber of Commerce and giving that money to the seniors. Paul's give it to the seniors. I don't think anybody up here wants to not give them more. We just
Right.
gotta have somewhere to get it from.
And we've also, with the library board, they're gonna have to start charging the out-of-county. They're gonna have to.
We have a lot of out-of-county issues, or out of the city of Laverne issues, not just seniors, but, you know, at the ballpark as well. But that's a different story. But, you know, that's where we're at with this. Any suggestions would be great.
And you can't just say, I don't wanna charge them without you're gonna give us an idea of where to get some money for those people.
Gotta
'Cause
have
I
money
do, I
to
mean,
function.
I'm all for doing anything for the seniors. I mean,
Well,
55?
Well, actually, 60.
60.
But you ain't getting sponsored, chief. All right, I'll
But
sponsor
now
you.
this-
I'll sponsor you.
The recommendations, did this come from the senior advisory committee? These recommendations?
I mean, they've been
Which
really
is
good about it.
comprised of our seniors.
Yeah. I'm really proud of them because nobody, like I said, nobody wants to do this. We sat around the table racking our brains and, everybody agrees we need to do something, so.
They don't want to pay for it, but they don't want their senior center to go away either.
Right.
I mean, so.
And nobody wanted to do this. I mean, I hope the seniors understand, nobody wants to do something like this. But there comes a time, like in your home budget, there comes a time you have to, do something. It's the same thing with this budget. And I don't know, I mean, this is just, like he said, discussion.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And you have to keep in mind too, we have bus pickup. We go and pick up a lot of seniors and bring them and take them home, and gas is going up, so that's another cost. That money is coming, it's going out, so we got to try to recoup that somewhere.
And we go outside of Laverne.
Yes, we do.
We may have to just stop the outside of Laverne on the bus trips. Pick up, absolutely take care of, our Laverne residents.
Well, ideally, I wish that we could implement a fee schedule that if you lived in Laverne, you didn't have to pay anything. I don't want any of them to pay, but at the same time.
Have y'all looked at that, reworking the numbers? So, I mean, that the Laverne residents that live in Laverne and attend the senior citizens do not pay. And the ones that live, I'm sorry, the ones in Antioch, they've got Davidson County take care of them.
Yolanda, do you know right off the top of your head how many Laverne residents we have that actually are members?
Not off the top of my head, but it's roughly a little bit under 200, I believe.
Right.
And have we checked with Davidson County? What do they charge? What do they charge?
Yolanda's checked with everybody.
Well, that's the thing. We've checked with lots of people, and everybody does something different. I mean, it's not like, some people charge.
But it's not free.
Well, some of them are,
Okay.
yeah. But they're in counties where obviously they have more money to donate to that program. But some of them are more, some of them are less, and some of them are nothing,
I hear, how's the sponsorship going to work?
What's that?
How will the sponsorship work?
Well,
I mean, y'all going to have, how are you going to decide?
I hadn't quite decided.
If I pay for two, how are we going to decide which two?
We're still in the infancy of
I
it.
know
We're discussing Yeah, I don't know. What do y'all think? I mean, what's the best? I don't want to dig in anybody's finances, but at the same time.
I guess I want to leave it up to the seniors. I'm not, if I don't sponsor two,
I would think.
Give the money.
I
want to know that it's
Yolanda
the two that
would have a pretty good idea, as long as she's been around, who would need help and who would not need help. So, I mean, there's got to be a way to do that.
I agree. And I hate for somebody that didn't really need it to get it when somebody is over here that really needs it and they don't have it.
But I also feel like if we did some kind of advertisement, there's probably enough citizens in town that would cover.
Oh, yeah.
And the seniors wouldn't have to pay it.
Well, and when me and Yolanda talked about this, and her staff had talked about getting on the phone and calling some of these businesses, and me and Miss Sherry talked about going around and, and asking for sponsors, I don't think it'd be a big deal to get enough sponsors, to.
I mean, could people start donating now? We start like a fund for the seniors that they could well, if you got an employee that wants to take $5 a month out of their check, could it start something like that?
I don't see why not. Bruce, is that something we could do?
I mean, is
That's
that
more
possible?
Phyllis' question.
Phyllis?
I realize it's not going to be easy, but
Probably, okay. Probably.
if we could start some kind of account that would work for that.
Will you just have to set up a separate account, a banking account like the senior fund, or?
Just a general ledger account.
I mean, I feel like there's ways out there to do it.
Yeah.
You gotta get a fund started, and you're talking $5
Right.
a month. But if we could start something now where there's money
That's
building
what I was
up.
going to try.
Kathy, is that something you can get on the website?
To pay for the people that don't have the money.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. I'm not sure about that.
I ain't gonna go there.
I don't want to go there.
I'm not. I mean, because
we give directly to them, to the seniors.
me and my wife.
Because they take out-
She's big on couponing. She brings all kinds of cereal and stuff down there already. So, I mean, I have no problem giving to help them out. I mean, I challenge anybody. I'll do 2. If you want to do 4, we'll do 4. My wife give me a headlock maybe, but
But have y'all, I mean, have you
giving away our
worked
checks,
the
but-
numbers? I know y'all have 2 or 3 more. Well, you have another meeting coming up before y'all actually are ready to vote on something like this.
And that's why we're doing it a little bit early, because we want to talk about it.
You know, as opposed to even outside of Rutherford County. I know Rutherford County gives us money. So Davidson County doesn't give us anything,
Right.
okay? The people that live outside of Rutherford County, I'm sorry, needs to be higher.
They
because,
are. Theirs is gonna be 10.
You know,
It's 54 Laverne residents, 100 for non-residents.
And Vicki Walker's gonna give $50 to start the fund. She just told me so.
If you do a payroll deduction of $5 per pay period, that's $130 a year.
I mean, and
That's 50 cents a day, but less than 50
Yeah.
cents a day.
With a
That's
pack
good.
of cigarettes, $5, that's not very much, is it, Chief?
No.
50 cents a day.
but I think you've got minds working, is
Right.
that's what y'all wanted to do.
Exactly.
It stays here, and
And-
there's no administrative costs off the top, and it's.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, and that's why I agree.
because I just
Gonna
hope if I
donate?
make it to be a senior, people treat me with half of what I want to give y'all. You know, because I do. I would do everything for them down there. If we could make a building that was 14 times as big.
Oh,
Let's-
I-
Well, let's,
and that's another
Well, I tell you
thing.
what, if we do this, we may have to make it bigger because,
you know, I mean-
which I want to, I really do.
and on the good note, the fences are going up.
Exactly.
So it
And
won't
so
be
you're fixing to
long,
get
y'all
your
will
That's
have the cars
space
gone
out there.
every side of the building, so.
Finally.
They
Yeah.
cannot wait for that.
So, that is
They're-
coming.
They're
Yeah.
tired of looking
And I
at
mean,
the
and I don't know what
person.
kind of fundraisers y'all have, but use me for part of your fundraisers if you have one. I mean, I'd come down and help do fundraisers.
Well, we have,
at the senior
what,
center.
Yolanda, we got a spaghetti dinner coming up and also a fish fry coming up.
Yes, we do. We have a couple of extras as well. We're just gonna do some fundraisers like big lights and also, a yard sale. We're gonna do a yard sale on the 26th of October.
You're going to sell spots for that, correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Yeah, that went over
I
pretty
think
good last
that
time.
is
There was
like
quite a few
about
people there.
Good. Got a good spot.
Old Timers Day,
That's on 26th at 2.
so.
As far as timing is concerned, in order to put any fees into effect, it would have to be done by ordinance.
And that
So
takes
you're
2
looking,
readings.
you're looking
Takes
at
2.
either the November and December meetings to do that. You could possibly squeeze it in by December and January, since we're looking at not really implementing till the middle of January.
Yeah.
But at the latest, that's when we would need to start the ordinance to put this in effect. So that kind of gives you your time frame if you want to put this in effect by.
So really,
January.
your committee only has 1 more month technically to have it like you want it, to bring back to this board. Then we'd have to do it in an ordinance form.
Well, I'm thinking if we generate enough interest, like Chief Walker said, with the payroll deduction and,
Would you have to have an ordinance to do that?
Well,
Put it in
that
the
was
municipal
my-
code.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because it's going to stay with the city of Eagle.
But my only concern is, and I know there are a lot of people who want to donate and contribute, but it's with donations, you're not sure. We need something consistent. We
Yeah.
need to make sure that everybody is, that we know that each member is, being covered. That's my only fear about doing it
Yes.
with donations and sponsorship.
How long does it take to start this ledger or whatever? Because, I mean, I'll put some money in it tomorrow to get it started, and then we
About a
can
week.
do the ordinance for if people want to donate through their paycheck.
Well, that may be something to look at. If we can get that started quick enough and get enough sponsors, then it may not be something that we need to even do.
I mean, because if we get enough donations just right off the bat, and then we can just make it,
Yeah.
where it could be payroll deductible for people
Yeah.
if they wanted to, then this would just
Okay,
be
here's my
a
question
moot
though.
point.
You're wanting to make the sponsorships just for the Laverne residents and keep the fees for the residents that do not live in Rutherford County.
Well, that would, I mean, yeah, if we're doing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ideally,
Yeah.
I think that would, the Laverne residents come first, always.
That's what I
You know?
would say.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you want to take care of the Laverne residents, and then after that, if
Right.
there's left over money.
yeah.
Right.
Big,
Not that
And we don't
anybody
want to see anybody
has
not be
extra.
able to come
No,
anymore,
but-
we need to take care of the ones at home first.
absolutely.
you
And I
know?
mean, if we generate enough to cover the Laverne, you could maybe bump it down to $10 a month
Yeah,
for the non-residents, you know, and nothing for the ones that live here.
Yeah, it's 10 now.
It's
for
great.
the
I mean, I
non-
love the idea. I just-
yeah.
It's,
I want to raise the money.
it's 10 now. Well, I can say one thing. We have people that come from Smyrna. We have people that come, you know, because this one in Laverne is so friendly. All of your staff is friendly. They do whatever they can to make you happy. They plan programs, trips. They do everything to keep them busy. And people love to come there. I even like to go there. I'm not a senior, but I still like to go.
I mean, can we put like a flyer in the water bills?
No,
we start
I don't know about
Well, I mean, for
that.
donations.
Maybe
Is there a way to-
we can do it in
a
the
newsletter?
in the newsletter.
We put it on
Hey.
Channel 3 as well.
Yeah.
I plan on being a senior one day, Phyllis. I got to have somewhere to go.
You couldn't find a better place, I promise you.
Oh, I'm just trying. I mean, I don't think people realize they don't have the money down there. That's the biggest thing. I think there's plenty of people that'll help. It's just not put out that there's not enough money for them.
Well, good discussion.
Yeah.
So that's got your committee a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
And
It's been rough, I'm telling you, it's hard.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's been, you know, concerned about it because
Absolutely.
they have every right to be. I'm concerned about it.
And we don't want them thinking, you know, that the center's going away or that's going to be a situation where they can't come anymore. I mean, nobody wants that.
It ain't going away as long as I got anything to do with it.
Nope. Sounds good.
No,
Okay.
we have to keep that for all of you young folks.
That's right. Hey, I'm right around the corner. What are you talking about?
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, thank you. All right. Discussion. Interlocal agreement with the town of Smyrna to provide wastewater treatment services for the proposed Oliver Constable development on Blair Road. Yes, we voted on this last month, but since we talked, Kristen and I did sit down after the planning commission and talk to Mr. Constable. And he was wanting to build a neighborhood with houses, about 200 homes, in the price range of $200,000 to $250,000. We all agreed at that point, we did not feel it was fair to do 200 families at the rate Smyrna was going to charge. So Kristen and I sat down, talked with him at great length after the planning commission, and gave him some thoughts on what we were thinking about for that piece of property. His property backs up, it drops right off to the rock quarry, okay? On this side is the Van Winkle trailer court. So we had a very good discussion, and we talked to him at great length. It is a beautiful piece of property. And we asked him, would he consider doing a nice gated community? I think we'll all agree that there's really not an apartment complex here, a nice gated apartment complex for kids that want to, they can't afford their own homes now, but they've got their jobs, they don't want to live with mom and dad. And we thought that would be a perfect location where it was at to consider an apartment complex. Now at this point, he's not asking, we've talked to him about the PDR, R3 PDR, you'll have the walking trails, et cetera, et cetera. But back to the sewer, it would be one master meter for the apartment complex, rather than 200 homes with individuals being sold, et cetera, et cetera.
Did we check about all the traffic that's on Blair Road?
Well, he's already in agreement there. We know there's gonna have to be a traffic study. It is at the end, actually closer to the Smyrna. He also talked, Bruce, at that point, Bruce, me, you, and Kristen and Kyle sat down with him to get in further discussion with him. He is talking about widening the road from that, is that a three-way? Four-way? Three-way? There at Sam Ridley, all the way up through his complex. There was a lot of good discussion there on that. He's quite aware there's a lot of work that will have to be done if we consider something like that. But mainly what he's wanting to look at is the sewer to Smyrna. That would be about 500 apartments. We don't, I think Bruce talked to Mark O'Neill. Phyllis and them are still kind of looking at, they're not real sure. Of course, it wouldn't be 200 homes, it would just be one account. Also, in that discussion, Evan, we said we maybe need to look at some type of verbiage over that. Say he builds this nice facility, somebody comes along, wants to buy this, they have to understand that their rates are going to be double what Laverne's is paying Metro. So there's going to be a lot of legal issues there that we'll need to iron out. Basically, all he's wanting to know if we would even consider the one master meter going to Smyrna at this point. And we certainly told him we would bring it to this board for further discussion. And he is very willing to build a very nice gated community there.
That would be nice.
That would be,
if
yeah,
we can get everything else
in
order.
order. And it's the perfect location. I don't think it would not interfere with the vineyards or Woodsong or any of those areas. It's further enough down.
That's where we should have put the senior housing.
Well, he actually discussed that as well. And we discussed that. He's open for ideas, but we felt like over in there, there's nowhere for them to walk to.
Well, and it's not a good place for them.
Exactly.
The road is not, yeah.
You know, we want to have it closer where they can walk to the seniors or, you know, walk to the grocery or whatever. So, I mean, he actually was, he's willing to talk.
Willing to
exactly,
talk.
Exactly.
That was just.
But we felt over there that would be perfect for a nice gated community apartment type.
Like the verandas.
Yes, well, exactly.
And it's right
That's
around the
who.
corner from the verandas.
Yeah, yeah. Only he's talking about leaving the lake or the pond, doing nice walking trails, really fixing it up nice. But like I said, at this point, we'll come back to that when he gets to that point of where he's wanting to come back and ask for this. He'll have to do the booklet, just like the Carruthers Road with the PDR, etc. But mainly what he's wanting to hear tonight or be Tuesday night, would we consider the one master meter to Smyrna? And that's going to be, Phyllis is going to have to give us some input on the, you know, the one master meter on that.
We have complexes that are currently doing the same thing. My question is it going to be a Laverne master meter or is it going to be Smyrna master meter?
It'd be Laverne because it's Laverne water being provided to them. Sewer charges would be based on the amount of water used, just like any other.
Are they going to have a sewer master meter?
No. Sewer rates would be based on how much water they use for the whole complex.
And that's why we said we'll have to make sure that is in writing. Somehow, I guess, legal teams will have to get together, making sure that that's understood regardless of who owns that complex. That complex will always be charged at Smyrna rates, which are double what we pay.
Well, I mean, if you live in an apartment, you're already used to paying double because at Summer Creek, I paid double. Because they have a master meter and then a meter on every apartment. So your water rates If you're in an apartment, you're already
Well,
planning on it being high.
What he's looking at is he's rolling the utilities in with his rent. Am I correct?
Right.
So they will actually be paying that into his, whoever runs the apartment complex, and the complex will pay the utilities. But it's totally at the discretion of this board. If we want to consider that. Which is basically what Nissan does to Smyrna. I think, don't they charge them? It would be the same rate that they're charging Nissan, is what they will charge him. My understanding, am I correct?
Yes.
Any questions? So,
I didn't want to make it confusing on the way till y'all get done.
go ahead.
But to be able to do it like he wants, Christian's did a little bit more, not really research, but we've looked into the regs more. You technically can only have 30% of your residential to be attached dwellings if you did a PDR on top of the R3 zoning. So that may be something that we'll need to bring to the Planning Commission next month, which will come in front of this board too, to make it feasible to where he can do this type project. I think 30% was put in there to protect the city from developments that, like at Carruthers Crossing, having all the larger homes or the, you know,
Right.
detached homes or single-family homes in one section, and then us get all of the attached dwellings.
That
kind
was
of why it
written
was,
strictly for the
that's kind of why it was
Carruthers
put it in the regs. However, if you, with it being in the regs like that, he technically cannot do what he's wanting to do, because he'd have to have 30% attached dwellings, then he'd have to have 70% single family. So that, we see that being an issue. Kristen sees it as an issue. That's what's in your package, it's her report. Just wanted to explain that's what that is, and she feels like that definitely needs to be addressed, whether he, you know, you allow him or want to do this project or not. That seems to be something that probably needs to be fixed, because if you ever wanted to do a gated community and do it as a PDR and have strict regulations, you need to get rid of this. I mean, you could let it be R3, but then you wouldn't have any of the standards that would come in the book
Right.
of a PDR. So kind of if you really wanted to have some say in how it's going to be developed, how it's going to be gated, what the look of the buildings and everything else is going to be, you'll definitely need to look at this 30% requirement. And it may be as simple as saying that a gated community is exempt from that 30%, others are not. I mean, it's something we can look at, but that's something we'll need to fix. But the sewer's the main issue right now that we need to get worked out or have an answer for him, so we know if we can go forward or not.
Okay.
And that's something we'll look at taking back to Planning Commission at the next meeting.
Okay, excellent.
And try to push that through, to allow developments like this.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's other people that would like to develop the same sort of thing as well, so it's not just him that we're making this change for if it gets approved. So I think it could be good.
Okay. Any questions? Number 18 is discussion settlement Waldron Road widening project, City of Laverne versus James D. Yarborough and McDonald.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor and Alderman, this is we discussed last month one of our condemnation cases from the Waldron Road project that we still have. I don't think it makes sense to settle this case with McDonald's at this point. And just for your frame of reference, and y'all may already know this, but we all know where the McDonald's is. McDonald's is just a tenant. They don't own the property. They just lease it from a landlord. The offer of settlement we have is just from McDonald's. It's not from the landlord. In my mind, it just doesn't make sense for the city to settle with the landlord when we're still going to have a lawsuit pending with the landowner. So I think if we're going to settle the case, I think it needs to be a global settlement, and we need to settle with the landlord and the tenant. And then if they want to have a dispute about how much the lease is worth versus the landowner, then they can fight about that. But from our perspective, I just don't think it makes sense for us to settle just with the tenant and then still have a lawsuit going with the landlord. So, I want to be clear about this too. I'm not suggesting that the number she's offering is way off or not within the realm or whatever. I'm just suggesting that until we get all the players on board, I don't think it makes sense to accept this right now. So I would recommend that we reject the settlement offer on that basis and then see if we can't get the landowner to come to the table. That's my thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I'm all for rejecting it and let you earn some money.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
How many other businesses?
Let you work for your money on
I
that.
suck
He
it.
wants to put you to work.
How many other businesses is wanting a settlement?
We've got four, if my memory serves, we've got 4 condemnations left out of the 54 parcels that we acquired. We've got 4 that are still pending. Those 4 did not want to settle with the city based on the amount the city thought it should pay for the land, which is every landowner's right, is to not accept what we're offering and to go to court and see if they can get more money for the property. So I would imagine that over the next few months we're going to see more of these start coming out because the road project now, obviously is finished. So these landowners wanted to wait until the road was finished before they came to the table with seeing what they could get worked out. So as these come in to us, we'll bring them to you and talk to you about them. But that's going to be at least my thought on this case as it stands right now. And I don't know if I answered your question, Mr. Waldron. I don't know if okay, good.
I have some good news. We have the senior kitty started.
Oh. Awesome. All right, I guess we're down to our mayor and alderman comments. We'll let you just go on and start. You got it started.
I'll get you started. I can't really think of anything I need to say other than we do hope that we can do everything we can for our seniors, and I know everybody wants to do that. So if anybody wants to put any more money in my pocket, that'll be great.
Vice Mayor?
Fix start cooling off, everybody check your batteries and your smoke deflectors.
Alderman Waldron?
Just keep the Davenport family in our prayers for their loss, and everybody remember Saturday, I think AC Puckett's having at the library. What time is that? Is that
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Okay, 2 p.m.
And if everybody's welcome. And I think it would just be great if you would come and listen to him, because he's lived in Laverne all of his life. And he's going to be telling all of us things, that we wouldn't have probably any idea that happened or
And we are going to film it.
Oh.
So it will be filmed.
It will be filmed.
Yes.
So it will be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Alderman Broker?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to also ask that you keep the White family
Yes.
in your prayers for their loss as well.
Yes.
Who's
The White
White
family. Yes.
right?
Okay. I guess with that being said, we are done. Thanks to everyone who attended tonight. We appreciate you. I call this meeting adjourned.